board president. Oh, no.
Hey, Charlie.
All right. Mask on. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 1st Board of Education meeting. Mrs. Slunt, roll call, please.
Dr. Cordolino?
Here.
Mr. Daughtry?
Here.
Mrs. Spano?
Here.
Dr. Modrak?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mr. Rappaport?
Here.
Ms. Zuckerman?
Here.
Mr. Palma?
Here.
Mr. Grau?
Here. Pledge of allegiance, please,
Wait.
everyone.
Mr. Joe?
I'm sorry.
Ms. Rossinow?
Here.
Now.
Maybe you can lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, all right? You do it at the high school, right? Natalie? Go ahead.
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Justice for all.
Thank you, Natalie. Well, who would like to go first? Elliot, you or Natalie?
I can go first.
Well, why don't we take you, Elliot? There you go.
All right, so I have athletics. So Senator Joe Pinocchio and the NJ State Legislature recognized the 2021 MTHS bowling team and the Mustangs #1 ranking in the state. And for golf, they qualified for the state tournament for the first time in over 10 years. They finished 9th out of the 24 teams in the Morris County and placed 2nd in their state sectional tournament. And today, the team will be participating in the NJAC championship. So good luck to the Mustangs. For boys tennis, recent wins for this team was against Mountain Lakes, Morristown, and Randolph. They'll be having their state sectionals against Tenafly today at 3 p.m. Softball includes wins over Kittany and 17-1 win over Hopatcong. They also versed Parsippany Hills, Westmore Central, and Wallkill Valley High School. For baseball, they won preliminary rounds of the Morris County tournament 2-1 over Pequannock. And on May 19th, the baseball team defeated Hanover Park 11-1. And on May 24th, the baseball versed Chatham at 4. And track and field, congratulations to Daniela Vito and Nick Amoroso as they lead the charge on day 1 of the Morris County Championship. Amoroso won gold in the 400 hurdles, while Vito won gold in the javelin. The state sectionals meet this Friday and Saturday is in Wayne. For girls lacrosse, on May 19th, the Mustang defeated Cranford 50-10. This was also their senior night, in which the seniors were recognized for the hard work and dedication they put in the program. And today, girls lacrosse plays Sparta Township home for state sectionals at 4 o'clock and won 21-12. And they will take on Summit Friday at 4 p.m. in the next round of states. And lastly, for boys lacrosse, there was a state sectional varsity game today against Tenafly at 7 p.m. And that's it for.
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you very much. Natalie?
So for past news and events at MTHS, AP exams started on Monday, May 10th, and the exams that week included AP Language and AP Music Theory, and those are the only in-person exams this school year. And digital exams started on May 18th, and the last AP exams are on June 10th. The One Montville Green-In Day was on Friday, May 21st, when MTHS faculty and staff and students were encouraged to wear green to show their support for the One Montville mission. The student council elections for the 2021 to 2022 school year were conducted on May 21st, where student council officers for next school year were elected. The World Language Honor Societies had a pre-recorded ceremony for their new inductees. It was aired on May 24th, and this recording can be found on the district's YouTube page. The MTHS Theater Company hosted their Spring Broadway Night on Thursday, May 27th, and this was their first in-person event of the school year, and the performers' families could attend. And the event was also live streamed on the MTTV YouTube page. And the forensics team participated in the NCFL Grand National Tournament this past weekend. Highlights include Viyank Menar and Nikhil Ganesh advancing to the public forum debate trips. Maria Papera and Victoria Way advanced to duo interpretation octas. Samantha Coe advancing to dramatic performance octas. And Thomas Chen placed 5th in the nation in congressional debate. For future events, senior portraits for the class of 2022 are ongoing and will run through June 4th, and pictures take place in the MTHS Wrestling Gym each afternoon. The virtual spring music concert will be on Tuesday, June 8th at 7 p.m., and it will live premiere on the MTTV YouTube channel. And for senior events, some updates. The senior prom at Legacy Castle will be this Thursday, June 3rd at 6 p.m. The senior award ceremony will be conducted live over Zoom Thursday, June 10th at 7 p.m. The senior breakfast will be held at the Mansion in Mountain Lakes on Monday, June 21st, and tickets are currently on sale for the event and are being sold after school. And lastly, updates were announced in regards to the class of 2021 graduation ceremony, and MTHS will now hold a traditional ceremony on June 23rd at 7 p.m. on the stadium. And if there's bad weather, the ceremony will be inside in the gymnasium. That's it.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Thank you, Elliot. Don't leave just yet, okay? Renee?
Okay, this evening, we traditionally recognize a number of folks. The first group that I'd like to recognize is the faculty and staff members who have retired or, left us after quite a number of years of service. And I will just kind of briefly go through the list and indicate their years of service. Mr. Michael Fascini, working in at the high school in our custodial maintenance department, served with us for 31 years. At Lazar Middle School, we have Marianne Duffy with us for 20 years. Kathy Ernst, 22 years. Suzanne Metz, 18 and a half years. Dorian Vicente, 14 years. Cheryl Zanone, 18 years, and Cheryl, you'll remember several years ago, was actually our Morris County Teacher of the Year. We're very proud of Cheryl. And Michelle Bellotti, 15 years. At Cedar Hill School, Joyce Bickham, 29 years. Colleen Dawson, 21 years. Ann Fisher, 26 years. Janice Koch, 16 years. And Patricia Swiatek, 18 years. At Valley View School, Denise Runny, 25 years. William Mason School, Wanda Vogel, 25 years. Woodmont School, Stacy Masyorski, almost 15 years. And for the district, Salvatore de Padua, 13 years. So please join me in a round of applause congratulating all of these employees on their retirement. We also like to recognize our valedictorian and salutatorian. Typically, the Morris County Superintendent's Association would have hosted a lovely dinner to recognize these students. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that this year, but we will recognize them, and we look forward to hearing their speeches at graduation. Our valedictorian for the 2021 school year is Victoria Way. And our salutatorian is Andrew Zhu. Congratulations, Victoria and Andrew. And lastly, we would like to recognize our two student representatives to the Board of Education. It has been an absolute delight to have you both. We've enjoyed having you give your reports at board meetings. We do have a gift for you, and we will certainly get that to you. But thank you so much, Elliot and Natalie. It's been wonderful. We wish you all the best as you continue your studies after your time at Montville High School.
I agree with Dr. Otar, guys. You two have really been a pleasure to work with. We look forward to your reports, and the best of luck to you as you leave Montville Township High School. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I did just have a couple of notes that I wanted to share. Natalie indicated Mr. Sanford had sent out a communication. I also sent one out this afternoon with regard to our graduations and promotional ceremonies at the 5th, 8th, and 12th grade level. Due to some changes, it's been a very fluid year in terms of the guidelines and the parameters that we have to work within, but we now are in a position where we can have those ceremonies indoors. The high school, obviously, we're saying our prayers for good weather on the 23rd, and hopefully that will come to pass. For Lazar, on the 22nd of June, we will have our traditional indoor ceremony for our 8th grade students, and that will involve 2 parents per family. And at the 5th grade level, we will actually also be able to have those promotional ceremonies inside with 2 tickets per student. And the details about all of those events will be coming to parents from the principals. But we are very, very excited that we will be able to have those traditional ceremonies. I did also want to indicate that I believe it was last week, the governor indicated with regard to September, I know I've heard from a number of parents with regard to the mask mandate for students in September. The governor did indicate that we are months away from September. He does believe that over the summertime, there may be some modifications to his executive order with regard to masks in schools. It is even possible, he indicated, that there may be separate standards for students at the middle and high school level due to the fact that vaccinations are available for that population. So at this point, I have decided that we are going to wait until July. At that point, I will potentially offer a resolution for the board to take action with regard to petitioning the governor on the topic of masks. But I think, given the fact that the regulations were just so recently revised, I think it's very prudent for us to give it at least a month to give the governor an opportunity. Between July and September, there's still plenty of time for changes to be made in those policies. So we are going to hold off until our July meeting to take up that matter if we need to at that point. I have also had some correspondence over the last couple weeks with regard to summer reading selections. And I just want to let people know that at the present time, those reading selections have not been finalized yet. They are still under review by the Curriculum Instruction and Technology Committee and the full board. And we will certainly share that information most likely at our next meeting in terms of final determinations on summer reading. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rotar. I know it was good news that we're able to have the graduation and promotional ceremonies and the prom. And I think that's fantastic. Presentation, you have a presentation?
I'm going to turn things over to Mrs. Woodring.
Good evening, everyone. So this evening we have Ken Tam from Curriculum Associates who is going to share a presentation with us on our mid-year iReady results and how Montville Township did compared to the nation and the state with regard to iReady. And then at the end of it, we can answer any questions. Just so you know, this data is K to grade 8. It does not include the high school. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ken.
Thanks. So hopefully everyone's able to see my screen. So I just want to introduce the folks who've been working with your district quite closely: Kathy McCormick, Jeff Ulmer, Alex Ludlow, and Jess Rose. They're your local team. They're in New Jersey. They're the ones who are working with teachers on a regular basis. My role within the organization is more to work nationally. So I do want to give take this as an opportunity to thank you for all your work. As I'm about to share with you the data, it definitely does pay. The work that you're doing in making sure students are focused is paying dividends. And what we're going to share with you over the next couple of minutes is how your district performed this year versus last year and the year prior. So once again, this is the data from your mid-year assessment. Students are going to complete their last assessment in the next couple of weeks or months. But for now, this is based upon the winter data. Just a quick overview of how to look at this information. So obviously green is good. Students who are in the light or dark green means that they are placing early or mid on grade level, and they are ready or likely to be proficient on the state assessment. Students who are in the pink or the dark red, there are 2 or 3 grade levels below, and these are the students who are likely to struggle with grade level content. So with that, let's take a look at your results. Here is an overview of K through 5 and mathematics. So I'll just give you a moment to process, but what you want to look at is as you go from the different grade spans, I'll take a look at 3rd grade as an example. The first set of columns in 3rd grade is from the 18-19 school year. So winter 18-19, winter 19-20, and then winter 2021 is on the far right-hand side. So as you can tell, their results are pretty good, meaning that their results, their performance is slightly lower than in past years in 3rd grade as an example. 2nd grade is pretty consistent, but it is a testament to the hard work of all your students and your teachers and your family that you're not seeing bigger gaps than what you're seeing right here within the slide set. I'll share what that looks like from a nation perspective in New Jersey in just a moment, but this is the data from math of this winter compared to the prior two winters. This is what it looks like in grades 6, 7, and 8. You may notice that there is a empty column in 18-19 for grade 8. We just didn't, none of the 8th graders took the assessment during that time period. So we don't have that results to share. But for the most part, you're doing quite well. Performance overall is very comparable to prior years, which is a great thing to see across the country. This is what the results look like in reading. So reading is actually a better story than math to a certain degree, where reading for the most part is pretty consistent. So one way of looking at the data is just looking across the color bands from the dark greens within a grade span. So notice how, once again, in 3rd grade, it was 64% 2 winters ago, 63% of the students were mid on grade level last year, and it's 62% this year. So it's down 1 or 2 percentage points, but given everything that families, students, your teachers, everyone's dealing with COVID, it's definitely an accomplishment to maintain performance year over year. So this is grades K through 5 reading. This is what it looks like for grades 6 to 8 reading as well. So once again, you may notice some empty columns in the 18-19, 19-20 year. Grade 8, this year was the first time 8th grade took an assessment with iReady. Right. One thing to keep in mind, so when we talk about mid on grade level, those are the students who are very likely to be proficient on state assessments. And in the case of NJSLA, students who score well on iReady are very likely to score well or high on NJSLA. Those who are likely to score low on iReady are likely to score low on NJSLA. And statistically, there's a correlation that we established between the 2 assessments. And you can see the correlations are pretty strong, 0.81, 80, 0.77. Generally, anything above a 0.70 correlation is regarded as strong. Groups like the National Center for Intensive Intervention uses that as a benchmark. So you can see across the grades, across the subjects, the 2 assessments correlate quite well to one another. And that gives you a good indication of how kids are going to do when they take the assessment this fall. One of the questions I know that is really top of mind for a lot of educators in districts as well is how do we compare against the nation and other districts in New Jersey? So just to give you an overview of how the district is performing in math, grades K through 5. The far right-hand column is the district. And then the column over on the far left-hand side is historical from winter 1819. And then this column over here represents this year. So a slight departure from what you looked at before, where you had 1819, 1920, and then you had the district. This is looking at historical. And then I would make a comparison between this nation this winter versus your district this winter. So this is how you can see the results. Once again, you're doing much better than the rest of the country this year and in past years. This is what it looks like if we were to share with you the 6-8 data. And then let's take a look at it across the grade spans. So this is mathematics in grades K through 2. So what I'm sharing here is I've added another column. So you're looking at historical on the far left-hand side, the nation this winter, New Jersey results in this middle section under New Jersey, and then the district on the far right-hand side. So I'll give you a moment to process, but I'm just looking at it visually. You can see that the district is performing better than not just the country, but other districts within the state. The one thing I will point out is that the data that you're looking at is from a comparable peer, meaning that we only looked at the results of schools in New Jersey who tested in school, so that we wanted to eliminate any kind of variability that may occur from at-home testing. This is what the results look like in grades 3, 4, and 5. Once again, quite impressive to see that the number of students or percentage of students who are early or higher, the light green and dark green, is outperforming the rest of the country and the state. And then similarly, the number of students who are 2 or 3 grade levels below, the pink and the darker red, is lower than the rest of the country and the state. So this is math. It's grades 6 through 8. Give you a moment to process. You can see quite good results. And then this is what it looks like for reading. So in the case of reading, scores are down a little bit compared to prior winter, as you can see, and comparing historical to this year. And then you can see how in the case of your district, definitely a big difference between the 43% of the students who are early or higher versus your district, which is around 81%, if I were to add the 59 and the 22 together. This is what it looks like for grades 6 through 8. And then here's the grade by grade breakdown between the nation, historical, the nation this year, New Jersey this year, and the district this year. Grades 3, 4, and 5, once again, definitely outperforming your comparable peers. And then grades 6 through 8 in terms of winter performance. One last question that I'll try and answer. I know that your students have been quite busy with not just their in-person lessons, but also the lessons that are presented to them on the computer, which they are using iReady for part of it. One of the things that we wanted to share with you is the fidelity of implementation. So you can see that when we consider fidelity is students on average completing lessons between 30 to 49 minutes per week. So that's the green area. And then the teal color represents how many minutes on average students are spending within the program. So we're not asking kids to spend a lot of time, just 30 to 49 minutes. And that gives them the opportunity to pass a couple of lessons per week. And as you can tell below in this table, the pass rates are quite high. So it's not just the fact that students are spending time in the program, they're spending quality time, and they are passing their lessons in K-5 math. These are the results for K-5 reading. So pass rates are still quite good. And that is the extent of my presentation. But any questions I can help answer about the data I just shared with you?
Any board members have any questions? I can't see you, so just speak up.
I have a question, Charlie.
Yes,
It's
Christine.
Christine. Thank you so much. I just have a question. These results, are these our students who have special services, or is this just for the general population?
Christine, it's both.
Okay,
So if we need to, we can disaggregate by the groups if we have demographic data, but this is representing all the students who are using the program within the district itself.
thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Anybody
Charlie,
else?
I have a question. It seemed in some areas that our students were actually outperforming themselves year over year. How do you account for that?
So let me go back to a couple areas. So you're talking more broadly related to, I'm guessing, some of the earlier grades.
Yep.
Where in grade 1, they're doing better this year than in prior years. So how can we account for that? It's hard to know specifically, but we have seen instances where students are either doing one of two things. They're much more prepared to take the assessment this year than in past year, given their digital readiness. Or in some cases, I'm not sure where they took the first assessment. They may have taken it at home. And if that's the case, they may have had more assistance or inconsistency of scoring.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I'll open it to the public. Any questions from the public on this presentation?
Jennifer Bain?
Hi, thank you, Jennifer Bain. I have two kids in Cedar Hill and another one coming in. I just want to say thank you. I think this is great. It would have been, I think it would have relieved a lot of parents to hear that this was going to be presented tonight, and that, you know, all year we've been talking about concern for our grades losing skills. And so this is really compelling data for sure. I just have two kind of comments / questions. One is that, you know, I'm interested to know, like, the number, like, what's your N, what's your denominator in all these, right? I mean, 3 years ago, we were using this. I would imagine that iReady has done quite well from a consumer advantage at this point, and the districts that previously weren't using this are now using it. So I just, you know, I wonder whether these newer school districts are really kind of dragging down some of those numbers, and it just kind of makes us look even better than we are. And don't get me wrong, I think, like, we have gotten better for sure, but I just wonder whether it's skewing how things actually are when we're comparing ourselves to districts that, like, haven't ever used this program. And then I guess second to the comment that you had just made was, you know, why, as Dr. Cordellino said, why are our own students doing better? Do you think this is that, you know, our kids weren't exposed to using this program? I know, you know, in some classes, the kids are actually just doing iReady in the classroom. And I don't think that was the intent of iReady. I thought, I was under the impression that iReady was supposed to supplement our learning. And so to me, it's that we're teaching, we are teaching to the test. Like, we're teaching them iReady, and then they're getting tested on iReady. But thank you for presenting the data. You know, I look forward to your response. Thanks.
Sure. So in regards to the question about N counts, so what we're showing you in terms of those national comparisons are those students who are completing the assessment in school back in the winter, as well as New Jersey as well. So is it all 9 million students who use the program? No. It's probably about we narrowed down from about 1.5 million to about 1 million, based upon the fact that we wanted to find schools that tested within the same time period as your district, that they tested in school, which is not the case across the country. And then we did the same thing for New Jersey as well. So the N counts are not 100% of every single one of the students who use the program, but it is a pretty good statistical representation when you're talking about a couple million students across the country itself. I think when it comes to the results itself, all I can tell you is what the data tells me, that students are doing a little bit better this year than in past years. There's definitely less learning loss or underfinished learning in the case of your district compared to the rest of the country. And it does point out to what you indicated earlier, that your district maintained, whereas the other districts across the country may have had more of an impact due to the extended school closures from last spring.
Thank you, Ken. Nobody else?
I don't see any other questions
All right.
at the moment.
Thank you very much. There are no other questions. Let's move on the agenda. We have the next section, which is the good news in our schools. We had quite a bit last month, a little bit less this month. Business administrators report,
No report.
finance, Karen? You're muted, Karen.
No, thank you. No report.
Okay. Curriculum and instruction, Dave?
Yeah, so we had a meeting just before this meeting, and we talked about a number of items. I guess the first one I'll go over is the American Rescue Plan Act and the elementary and secondary school emergency relief funds. We received money through these acts, and that was very good. But as part of it, we are required to make a district reopening plan, a safe return plan. Superintendent is busy on that, and she will be updating us soon, because I believe we have a presentation mid-June, in a couple weeks. So we look forward to that. We talked about the New Jersey Senate Bill 3434. It's one that requires additional special services for kids who, an additional year of special services for kids who are going to be aging out of our system. We have a few kids who will be eligible, and so we have to make plans to accommodate those students. We talked about Lazar master schedule and the number of kids who are in different grades. We talked about curriculum updates. We've got 4 that are coming up, or that are on the agenda tonight. We've got a lot more, about 88 more that are going to be coming over the next few months in summer. We also talked about the one book, one school selections, as the superintendent mentioned. So she will be getting back to us, or we will be getting more information to the public on that soon. And that would be the report.
Thank you, Dave. Policy, Christine?
No report, Charlie.
Communications, Michelle?
We're meeting in 2 weeks before the next board meeting.
Okay. Safety and security, Mr. Rappaport?
No report this week.
Okay, liaisons, school boards, Karen?
Believe it or not, no report.
Morris County School Boards, Mike? O'Brien?
The last report, the last meeting was previously reported on, so there's no report.
Thank you. Educational Services, Mr. Rappaport?
Our next meeting is next Wednesday, June 9th.
Drug Awareness, Mr. Palmer?
No report. I assume our next meeting will be next Wednesday night.
Athletic Boosters, Mr. O'Brien?
Meets tomorrow night.
Liaisons, Cedar Hill, Karen?
No report. They had their last meeting of the year.
Hilda had their last meeting. Valley View, Joe?
No report this time.
William Mason, Christine?
Yes, Charlie, they had their last meeting, and they spoke about kindergarten orientation, Governor Murphy changing the guidelines every day, trying to keep up. school photos, and just kind of cleaned up some issues that they had, and they'll see us next year.
Okay, thank you. Woodmont?
No report.
Lazar Middle School?
No report, although I'm sure that they're very happy that they're going to be having the 8th grade ceremony.
Very good. High school?
No report.
MTEA? Karen, any change from last time?
We do have a meeting set up with the association. We're all looking forward on June 14th.
Thank you. The administrators will have our initial kickoff meeting on June 7th. The supervisors will have their initial meeting on May 25th, and we'll be having our next meeting on June 14th. Public participation. It's an opportunity for anyone to ask questions about anything on the agenda or on the addendum. Do we have any questions on the addendum or the agenda?
I just want to remind folks that if you are watching us on YouTube and you'd like to comment or ask a question, that you need to come over to the Zoom webinar, and there are directions to enable you to do that. Once you're here, if you want to make a comment, you need to raise your hand, and then we will recognize you. I see no comments at this time.
Okay, no comments on the agenda. Motion, please, for the agenda and the addendum, please, by?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Ratification? Any questions on sections I, JK, L, M? And I don't think we have any policies tonight. Okay, roll call, please, Mrs. Slunk.
Ms. Zuckerman?
Yes.
Dr. Modrak?
Yes.
Dr. Cortolino?
Yes.
Mr. Daughtry?
Yes.
Mrs. Spano?
Yes?
Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. Rappaport?
Yes.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Grow?
Yes. There's no need for a closed work session tonight. Any old business, section Q of the board? Seeing no hands. Section R, any general board comment, new business? See no hands. Public participation is opportunity to speak as listed on the agenda on any school matters or community interest. Renee gave you directions how to come over. Do we have any questions?
Oh, yes. Kate Trina?
Yes, hi, this is Kate Trina. I just wanted to speak up and say I appreciate Superintendent Riftar, what you said earlier, but I just want to urge the Board of Ed members and yourself to reconsider writing a letter to the governor and the State Board of Ed regarding the masking of schools. I think it's something that we need to take seriously and take immediately and not wait until July. I know September seems far away. I'm sure it will come sooner than we all think. I just have concerns with children wearing masks in schools when all summer they will be allowed to not wear them pretty much everywhere else that they go. I think there are multitudes of studies that at this point show that kids are not the drivers of COVID. I don't understand the concern in keeping the masks in the schools. So I just wanted to raise that concern myself as a parent. I have my daughter in Valley View. And then just urge the board and yourself again to reconsider writing that letter. I think it's very important that the Department of Education and that Governor Murphy know the feelings of the parents in our public school system, with kids in our public school system sooner than later. So I just wanted to voice that concern. And as I said, urge you guys to reconsider writing that letter earlier. I do understand your obligation to abide by the executive orders of Murphy, and I fully understand that. But I also think it's the board's obligation to do what's in the best interest of the children and be a voice for the parents as well. So I would like to try to balance those two things. I also just wanted to suggest, I don't know of the opinion of all the parents in the schools, but maybe we could possibly pursue an avenue of doing a survey of the parents to see how they all feel, to get a better idea of the schools at large, what the community thinks, how the parents feel, and that might maybe better feed the direction that the Board of Ed would like to go. That was all I had to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Trainer. Dr. Rotar did mention what our plan was to see if any more information coming out of Trenton, which we've been told it very well could happen, and that we anticipate at our July meeting of taking some action if the majority of the board feels that way. But we don't plan on doing anything at the present time based upon the recommendation of the superintendent and what's happening. Thank you.
Thought in motion. If you could please identify yourself.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, could you please tell us who you are?
Yes, my name is
Just tell us who you are.
Can you hear me?
But yeah, we can hear you. What's your name?
My name is Michelle Larson.
You got it?
You can hear me? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So about a month ago, a new client came into our business talking about how our district superintendent sends out mindfulness emails and how they positively impact her family. A few of the moms in town own this business with me. It's a water and thought bar, as you see, Thought in Motion in Montclair, and we realized that this client was also from town. And we were grateful to see we had a proactive, conscious, and aware leader at the helm, influencing our school's important decisions regarding our children. I also am asking to please write a letter to Governor Murphy before July, asking him to leave the choices of masking children to the individual districts or the parents. I have 4 children in our school, 2 of which have profound hearing loss and are having a very hard time since they rely on lip reading, and a son who receives speech services that is struggling. It is a major reason I kept him out of in-person schooling, which affected his grades, his self-esteem, and his confidence. Being back in person, he's having a hard time while being masked, and there's countless other children in the same situation. Children are thriving in other districts, and they're able to smile at each other. Please, please address this growing concern before July. I do believe we can make a difference now before waiting. I beg of you. I don't want to have to homeschool my children. I don't. And I tried to do virtual schooling, and it was a failure for my son especially. So I'm asking, as a very concerned parent, please reconsider waiting till July to voice our concerns as parents. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mark Mansour.
Hey there, guys. How you doing tonight? Mark Mansour, 13 Hollister Road, Tuaco. And I just wanted to echo the other parent concerns. I know over the course of this past about 2 weeks, I've seen at least 13 other districts send letters, including one today from Manalapan, and Rockaway Township sending a survey out to their parents to see if they'd be interested. And you guys, if the board and the superintendent pursuing a letter to the governor. So I just wanted to be on the record for saying that I would appreciate it if the parental concerns, which are growing, there's a lot in town of people who would appreciate if the board would reconsider that and maybe talk amongst themselves at some point and see if that's something that can be done to be able to represent the parents. And that was all I had.
Thank you, Mark.
Sherry Eichenbaum.
Hi, can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to speak on the other side for the other parents because I had a student who was a distance learner first and second marking period in a younger grade. And it was very difficult to do this. And I did send them back to in person, and it's going much, much better in person. And it's going much, much better because of your strict protocols with the masking. And masking works when parents are all for it. When parents are positive about masking and they encourage it, then the kids are encouraged to do it and will do it. And it's the choice of masks that you use. There's all different types of masks that you can use. And there's been ones that work just as well as K95s that I've been finding out with from friends that are doctors. And the doctors even use these happy masks. And we've just explored new avenues for masking. So there are ways, there's choices in masks that you can use that can be done in safe ways. So when you're positive about masking and you choose the right mask, it can work. And if people are not going to wear masks, what about the kids that are immunocompromised and have asthma? Then it puts my child in jeopardy and at risk. And then if he's to get sick because other people aren't masking, that's not fair to him. He needs to be in school to be with other kids. He's the only child. That's not fair to the children that need to be in school. His emotional well-being is also at stake, and he needs to be in school. So he's not going to be safe if nobody else wears a mask. So that's not fair to him. If other kids don't mask, then he could be in the hospital with this Miss C. Nobody really knows the outcome of COVID. It's still fluid. The doctors don't know everything. New things, new strains are coming every day. It's changing, ever changing. Even top doctors in New York City that I'm speaking to, they're actually doing research and they're guiding people. Nobody knows everything yet. The shots are coming. Once the kids are vaccinated, that's a whole new ballgame. Let them get vaccinated. Until they're vaccinated, I think it's premature to even ask for it. And it's not fair to the kids that have health issues, that are on chemotherapy, that have asthma, that are immunocompromised. There are kids that are immunocompromised that don't even know it. That's all I want to say. We wear
Thank you,
it for
Sherry.
our neighbors. That's who we wear it for. That's who we wear the masks for. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
No additional hands.
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. Debbie Cozell?
Hi, this is Debbie Cozell. I do want to reiterate that I would appreciate if the board did consider writing a letter to the governor. I understand that there are different cases and every family has to do what they believe is best for their children, but there is considerable evidence that children are not the cause and the carriers, and to have children that are suffering mentally because of the wearing face masks. And I understand that people may not believe or understand that that's happening, but when you have a child that it is affecting, you have to do and speak up on their behalf. And so I would appreciate if this board would consider writing to the governor and before July and get the ball rolling and let them know. I would definitely do a survey there. I believe there are a lot of parents in town that that believe that our children do not need to be masked for 8 hours a day in a full day of school. So that's my point. I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
No additional questions.
All right. I'd like to thank everyone that spoke tonight. We are listening to you. And as Dr. Rotar indicated, hopefully we'll get additional information soon. If we get it by June 15th, we might be able to take action sooner or no action, or the latest in July. But I would encourage you to attend our next board meeting, which is June 15th, same time. And I would like to thank all of you for attendance. Be safe. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Someone has their hands up. I don't know.
I don't see any hand up.
Oh, Mr. Fazio?
I'm sorry.
You're muted, Mr.
Oh, there we go.
Fazio.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties getting the hand up. I just wanted, I don't know, I'm only going to take a minute here. I just wanted to, convey that, and everybody else stated most of the points, but I am not for masking our kids going into next year. And I would, again, just as another parent, urge you to please contact the governor, if nothing else. Please go out and read those other letters. And if you don't have them from all the other districts that have been sending them to the governor, you should go read them so you can see what they're saying and what the concerns are from around the state, from the other districts. At least educate yourself on what's going on that front. And I think Mark had mentioned that, at least one other town is doing a survey of parents to see if they would like the Board of Ed or superintendent to reach out to the governor. Something like that might be a good idea, to loop in all the parents. And while I say I don't want to be insensitive to the folks that have kids with health issues, I have kids with health issues myself. I think we need to be, if we have, immunocompromised kids, I think we need to seriously look at the research on masks and how effective they are. And, in what situations are relying on masks actually putting our kids in more harm, in harm's way, because we actually think that they work better than they do. So it's just something for people to think about, especially the woman who is, concerned about not wearing masks and the health of their kids. I would just say if someone really is that sick, they really should, talk to their doctor and get fully educated on the effectiveness of how those things work. That's all I had to say, and I just urge you to please educate yourself and contact the governor as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Simic?
Hi, I'm a mom of 2 kids at Cedar Hill, and I have a kindergartner coming in this coming September. So I'm sort of with the younger one through just first grade, learning vowel sounds and just trying to read and just everything with the mask. It was just an incredibly difficult year, half day wise. And I'm just wondering if you could sort of think about the younger kids. And I mean, of course, children with special needs as well, but I'm not really sure how they could even see the teacher's face to try to understand how to do letter sounds and all of those things in kindergarten. But my question to you is actually, I want to understand what is your hesitation or why you don't want to send a letter to the governor?
The governor has indicated that this is a fluid situation, and he did indicate that it's very likely that there may be some modifications to the current executive order. So we are giving him some time to reflect and act on that. And I will also add that the Board of Education does not have exclusive access to the governor. Parents can certainly communicate with the governor. You can even do it online. So, I know he does listen to parents. So I would encourage you to also personally reach out to the governor.
I mean, we as parents definitely have, but I'm trying to understand why somebody who has such authority and who is a representative of our entire district wouldn't, at the very least, try to poll the parents to see if there is a majority who are behind trying to give choice to masking our children for 8 hours straight next year, just to at least represent, the people that are in your district and what these people are urging you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 90% of the parents are for masking the children, but I would certainly like to be polled and asked and sort of not be left in the dark the same way the reopening committee at the beginning of the year really didn't represent any of the parents at all. So I'm just kind of trying to get ahead of that. And if there's a possible way that there's more synergy with parents and the Board of Ed and I myself, I listen to these meetings all the time through YouTube. I may not always comment, but I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. You certainly kept everybody safe when the schools reopened and I totally appreciate, I'm sure it's just a headache and a lot of hard work. But at the same time, I mean, these kids are together after school every day in sports with play dates. It's no secret that these kids are maskless and around each other every single moment that they are not in school. So to have them be with masks on for 8 hours straight, I mean, in the winter, they're not going to be able to go outside and have a mask break. My child has like a rash on her face and the pediatrician's like, she needs to air it out. and from Monday to Friday, the rash comes back, and on the weekend it goes away. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to not understand why people that represent you don't at least try to poll to see how they can be your voice in, you know, the State Department or the county or wherever, you know, if you guys do have a say in any way.
We hear you, Lisa. And as I said, we meet again on the 15th. There might be some additional information at that time that we'll be able to share with you. Okay? And the other parents.
Thank you. I look forward to that poll.
No additional comments.
Okay, I now entertain that motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Yes or no?
Second.
Second, please. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. We'll see you back here on June 15th.